and play. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way.
But when Redwine had it and it was dirt, he could do no wrong. I operated the scales at that time, and he ran Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night out at the old Queen City or Tri-County Speedway, whichever one you wanted to call it. And one week he told the people that raced it that it was going to be blacktop next week. Nobody believed him, and it was blacktop in 1 week. At that point, Chuck contacted the people at Lawrenceburg and Northern Kentucky, and they opened them back up and started racing on dirt again as opposed to asphalt.
So Bill really thought that putting asphalt on that track was going to be huge.
He was sort of, I won't say forced to do it, but he'd like to please everybody. And again, the gentleman who did the cockpit work on a car with that Ford motor, that was an Indy motor, he lived out in whatever the hell they call that out there. What do they call that out there?
Westchester?
Westchester. And he was on the city council. Not the noise so much, but the dirt, the dust would get all over the streets and all them homes. And the people out there were raising hell about it. So Redwine didn't actually, I guess you call it, give in to it. But what Bill did is say, okay, I'll asphalt the track. And he thought that people would come to that, but they liked the dirt better than the asphalt. Now, on special races, ASA used to come in there and they'd pack it. But on a Saturday night, every night deal, the fans or the stands, instead of being full, or maybe 1/4 full.
Just from going from dirt to asphalt?
Yes. Yes.
So that would have been pretty much, that set Florence Speedway back off the ground.
That was Northern Kentucky, yeah. That. And then they had another track over there at that time called KIR, which Kentucky International Speedway. And that opened up again, and Lawrenceburg opened up again, and everything was wonderful.
Now, how did you get involved down at Northern Kentucky Speedway?
How did I get involved with Northern? Oh, my wife and I bought it.
Well,
yeah, okay, we bought it and I operated it for 3 years, and then my wife did not like, I guess you call it, the hustle and the bustle, or the aggravation. I'll use the word aggravation more so than anything. And she said, get rid of it. And Preston Sandlin and a gentleman by the name of Bruce Buford, they leased it from me. And then after that part, Preston's wife called me and said, John, get us out of this deal. I contacted Jerry King, and you know the rest of the story. And that was in 95 or 96.
Did you ever have any hard run-ins with anybody, being the guy in charge down there?
No.
Was everybody always pretty good to you?
Pretty good. You could start a guy, Rick Shepard, who helped me on the racetrack. You could have started him at the back of the pack, and if he would have won, we cheated. And, I didn't like that part, but at any rate, that's part of it. And by looking back on the situation, he should have never raced at the track, being involved with the track itself. If you own a track or a promoter of a track, you should not have a car out there at that particular track.
So we'll just go down through a couple of tracks. What's your favorite, your biggest memory from Florence Speedway?
Oh.
Something off the top of your head that strikes you.
When Audie McWilliams and Rick Corbin were coming to the finish line, Audie was running the high side and Rick was running the low side, and Rick drifted up and they hit, and Audie's car went up in the air, and you could see the bottom of the car, the dry shaft turn, and he went across the finish line first.
That's a pretty hard one to beat.
Yeah.
What about over at Lawrenceburg? Any good memories?
Not too much of a racing incident, but I can tell you this. Jerry and Mona King tried to promote that track on a Friday night, which I told them wouldn't work. And after about 4 or 5 weeks of that track, Mona had a sign hanging up where you got paid for sale, $1. Because they wanted out of there, they weren't doing no good. But as far as the racing incident over there. I had none.
What about Glen Estee Speedway?
Never raced there. Never had a guy on that track.
Did you ever go and watch them run?
Just watching them run. I'll tell you, Pat Patrick was hell out there at Glen Estee Speedway.
Out of all the racetracks that you've been to, everywhere that you've went, what's the one place that if you had to stay there for the rest of your life, which one's it going to be?
At the track itself,
Yeah.
Eldora.